Hi boys and girls. Okay, last week we did our practice drawings in Picasso style, so you should have 4 examples of what you're thinking you might do. I want you to pick the one that you want to create into cardboard design, and you're going to use that head shape. You want to make that shape onto this larger piece of paper, okay? So if I pick this one, I'm going to try to enlarge that and make this part of this and the chin touch the top and the bottom of my paper, okay? If I want to do that one, I would just make sure this, I look at this straight edge, I could actually just use the top of the paper. I could come down and make the chin maybe touch here, right? I think I'm going to do this one just to, for example here. So it's pretty wide, so I probably just start at this edge, come down, curve over, and then make sure it reaches to the bottom of my paper. So that's the chin. And then come back up. I gotta move this for a minute. I want a bumpy surface. So set these examples aside because I want to show you those in a minute. All right, so I'm going to start here. I'm just going to do it a little bit darker so you can see. Come down, make my chin, and up. And then this is just slightly rounded here. It doesn't have to be, but I think I want it to be. Okay. Then you're going to take and cut that out. Once you have, this is your template that you're going to trace around onto your cardboard. Okay. Then you're going to go find a piece of cardboard that's about this big enough that this will fit on it, and trace this onto it. Okay, so I've got this piece of cardboard. It has this bent area here that I'm going to get rid of just to make it easier for myself. I'm going to go ahead and take that part off. But I know my picture will fit on this. Okay, once you have that, any of those extra flat parts off, you're going to lay this on here. Now, to save, I could put it right smack in the middle, but then I'm going to have to do all this extra cutting. I'm going to try to be wise here about how much cutting I have to do, and I'm going to put it right up against the top. I could put it over here. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do that, and then trace, and then I won't have to do as much cutting, okay? You always want to start cutting from an edge, so if you can use the edge as part of your face, that's going to save you a little bit of time and energy, especially for your hand. When you're cutting, you should never be cutting toward yourself. Now I'm cutting towards myself, but I'm clear over here. There's a lot of space between me, but if I wouldn't want to hold this close to where my scissors are, you want to be very careful because you're using a lot of pressure to get this to cut. If you're having trouble making a turn, you can always just go back to the opposite side and cut down till you get closer to that. And then it'll meet kind of right there at that corner. All right, there you go. Now if some of it's not exactly how you want, you can always go in there. I'm going to make that a little bit rounder there and a little smoother curve. I wanted this to have a little bit of a curve right here. Maybe I want a little bit of a curve there. I'm kind of changing my mind. Can you change your mind when you're designing it? Sure. If you see something that you think would look better, just go for it, okay? Now, we're not going to use these. These go in the garbage. If you have a big piece, maybe something like this, we can save that. And definitely I can save this for next week because this has got all kinds of potential for the smaller pieces that we're going to be cutting out to put on here. So we'll set that in the in the box that Mrs. Walker has set aside for that. I'm done with this now. Now we're going to take it from this basic shape, and we're going to use oil pastels and paint on the background piece, okay? So that's your job today. This one you can tell I use lots of oil pastels. This is actually 2 students that have done theirs. Isn't that beautiful? I just love the colors that they decided to do. Now, a lot of this is going to get covered up, remember, because we're going to be cutting out pieces and trying to make it go to a different level. So some of this will get colored up, but it's okay to go ahead and paint it however you want it to look. And just remember that you're going to be putting some pieces over that, so some of it will get covered up, but you can also paint the next piece. As the next piece goes on, you can paint it the colors that you had there, if that's the design that you want to bring forward, okay? So you'll have, I have neon oil pastels, regular oil pastels. Take those and do whatever kind of designing you want to do. You can do the oil pastels before or after you create the painting part. So I'm going to do them before. I'm actually going to do, remember he was famous for cubism. I'm just going to draw some sort of square shapes in here just to have fun with this, knowing that I want it to be different and unique. Now, I didn't have any of this in my design, and that's okay because, you know, you can kind of just go with it. But if you did already have a design planned, stay with that, right? I'm going to do a little bit of white because I know white always looks kind of cool when you paint over it. So I think I'm just going to do lines in here. Anything goes. And I'm going to get some, the neons show up really good too. And if you take it and rub it against it, oh, that didn't work as much. When I did it here, you see the ribs that are in the cardboard itself, they showed up. Didn't do it on this one, but it did it on that one. Maybe I have to do a darker color, I don't know. Okay, that doesn't show up as good as I thought it would, so I think I'm going to get a darker green to put in there. Maybe I'll circle around it with a darker green. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Okay, once you have the design that you want on the background with your oil pastels, then you're going to get out the paints. If you completely cover this with oil pastel, are the paints going to work at all? No. So you can either wait on the oil pastel and paint first and then use that to inform your oil pastel designs, or do the oil pastels first, but do not cover it so heavily in oil pastel that your paint doesn't work, okay? I'm done here. If I do any more, there's not going to be a lot of cardboard to absorb the paint, okay? For the paints, get your own water dish, get your own paintbrush. I have some neon paints back there. I have just the regular watercolors. Help yourself to either one of those. Let's see, what is it? Oh, I was going to say, you need a messy mat for this. And when you're done, make sure before you start that you have your name and class code on the back. You're either in 5A, 5B, or you're in 5C. Be sure you have that on the back before you start to paint, okay? Then these go on the drying rack. Look at how cool that is, though. What if I just had started painting first? That's definitely an option. All right, have fun.